Hello, and thank you for joining us for Samuel in Springtime. Today is Saturday, May 8th, and we're looking at 1 Samuel chapter 8. In chapter 8, if you'll remember, in chapter 7, the Ark of the Covenant has been for 20 years in one location, and Samuel has gone to the people and elicited from them this recommitment to being the children of the one true God and coming and returning to God and laying down their idols. And so in success against the Philistines, they see the power of God because they put their trust in God and said to Samuel, please intercede on our behalf with the Lord. And he does a ritual sacrifice and they are saved. In chapter 8, we learned that Samuel is getting on in years. Same thing that happened with Eli. And similar to Eli, his two sons, who would naturally inherit his position as judge, prophet, priest, and military leader of the people, are corrupt. They're no good. And the people, recognizing this, say to Samuel, please, instead of another prophet or priest or judge, give us a king. They want Samuel to become a kingmaker for them. And so Samuel goes to the Lord, and the Lord tells him, tell the people what it would mean to have a king. And I'm going to quote right from the 8th chapter. The Lord said to Samuel, listen to the voice of the people in all that they say to you, for they have not rejected you, but they have rejected me from being king over them, just as they have done to me from this day. From the day I brought them out of Egypt to this day, forsaking me, serving other gods, so also they are doing to you. Now, then listen to their voice, only you shall solemnly warn them and show them the ways of the king who shall reign over them. So Samuel reports to the people all that the Lord had said. And he says, these will be the ways of the king who will reign over you. He will take your sons and appoint them to his chariots, to be his horsemen, and to run before his chariots. And he will appoint for himself commanders of thousands and commanders of 50s, and some to plow his ground and to reap his harvest, and to make his implements of war, and the equipment of chariots. He will take your daughters to be perfumers, cooks, bakers. He will take the best of your fields and vineyards and olive orchards and give them to his courtiers. He will take 1/10 of your grain and of your vineyards and will give it to his officers and his courtiers. He will take your male and female slaves and the best of your cattle and donkeys and put them to his work. He will take 1/10 of your flock, and you shall be his slaves. And it's not going to go well for you. You will cry out to me because of the burden of having this king. But the people refused to listen to Samuel. They said, no, we're determined to have a king over us. So give us a king. And Samuel said to the people of Israel, each of you return home. Things are set in motion in chapter 8 that a genie can't be put back into the bottle. The people want a king, and they ask for a king. And God, through Samuel, he's a prophet, remember that, speaking for God, says, no, you don't. This is not what you, be careful what you wish for. You know, that old saying? I think it comes from here. They want a king because they are concerned about who is going to rule over them when Samuel is no longer able to. And I get that. I mean, we all have these kind of, put into place a contingency plan just in case. But when God says you want a king because you have rejected me as your king, that is going back to the problem they had in chapter 6 that caused them to do the mitzvah gathering in chapter 7. They are putting their fear in front of their faith and asking for this king. Now, from a literary perspective, in terms of reading the story, it gets really good because they get a king because he's crazy. And in, story-wise, this is interesting. This is good stuff. But it wasn't good for the people. And it doesn't turn out good. However, in the Davidic kingdom, a lot of good things happen. A lot of bad things happen too. But the Hebrew people, to this day, return to the glory of the Davidic kingdom. And we also know that the Messiah of the Christian, Jesus, was born in the city of David. And so that Davidic line is significantly important because King David was always beloved of God. Now, we're not into King David yet, but he's coming. 31 chapters, remember? It's only the beginning of May. And I hope that you will have a beautiful Saturday and that you will get ready for tomorrow when a king is identified for Israel, the very first king of Israel, but not the last, and certainly not without controversy and drama. Amen.